Out of the window of a moving train in a wild area of the United States, you can see a large humanoid creature walking on two legs. The creature is very hairy, and then it squats down, and you can zoom in on its face, and it has sort of like an ape's face, and it looks like it's eating something. My question to you is this Bigfoot?
What do you think?
What do I think? Well, let's discuss it in this podcast.
Okay, welcome to episode 11 of the Wild World podcast. I'm your host Thomas from the Wild World YouTube channel, and joining me as always is my co-host Mika.
Hi everyone, happy Halloween season.
But first, what's on your wildlife radar?
So, not too much this week, but the other day I went to a concert outdoors and I saw deer right when I got there, and they were just standing there and everyone was like, "Whoa, deer!" As if, you know, they were the most rare animal in the world. But
were they headlining?
Yeah, they were the openers for the concert. But it was interesting because like the concert had already started. There was already music, and they were just standing there. It looked like they were listening to the music, and they weren't bothered by the people. And the second thing was when we were standing in line near concessions, there was this raccoon, and it popped its head in. And again, this is an outdoor concert. It's like an outdoor venue with some places that are like outdoor, indoor sort of. Like there's a roof, but then it's also outside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the raccoon had come from full outside and was poking its head in through the window and like watching everyone getting food. And then it was just like, he was sniffing everyone. And then he didn't stop until people gave him food. And even then he didn't stop. He just stayed begging for more and more food.
It was a chunky boy.
Yeah. We could add some pictures to the YouTube video. They're mine, so you don't have to pay for them.
I would hope not, unless you start charging me. Cool.
What about you?
Not too much on my radar, I guess. I've been reading a lot about lions and tigers recently for an upcoming video.
Didn't you just see a huge spider?
Yeah, well, that's like been my news for the past 10 episodes. I saw a spider in my room. Boring.
But this one's bigger, though.
I saw an even bigger spider, would you believe?
Wouldn't believe it.
No. Well, I'll put pictures in, and I won't charge anyone.
All right. So, should we move on to wildlife news then?
Yeah, and first in our news, we have some cryptid news in our wildlife news.
Yes, we have a Bigfoot sighting, right?
Right. So this was on a train between, is it Durango and Silverton?
Yep.
In Colorado. There was like an 18 to 20 second video of a Bigfoot walking in the mountains.
Yeah, and when I saw this, I was so shocked because it was so clear. I was like, whoa, yeah. I'm a believer now.
Really?
Well, I just thought, wow, that's a really cool video. I was excited to be part of the moment, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now that the moment has passed, are you still a believer?
Well, you've uncovered more information about it. So, well, first of all, like, again, it is very clear. And the people who saw it were saying that there were only a few other people on the train who saw it. And then they managed to take the video. And this train route is like a tourist train. It's not really going anywhere for any particular reason. So it's really wild, this area where the Bigfoot was seen.
I heard it's not far from Silverton, though.
But Silverton isn't a city, you know, it's like...
But isn't it not a reasonably big town?
It has a population of 651 people.
Okay, it's pretty small, actually.
So anyway, it's a pretty remote area. Mm-hmm. And I thought the video was really cool, and the images are very clear and compelling. So I was like, woo, this is fun, you know? But then what did you find out about it? Why don't you tell me?
Well, when I first saw the video, my first thought was like, this is one of the better Bigfoot films I've seen. Like, this is a lot clearer than most of what you get. Like, it's still not really that clear, but compared to a lot of other stuff, it's pretty clear. But there was a few things that just seemed a little bit weird. Like, it seems in the video the Bigfoot hunkers down to hide or to camouflage from the train.
I thought he was sitting down to rest.
Oh, really?
That's how it seems to me. He's like, I've got a snack. I'm going to sit down and rest now.
Oh. Well, I just think it's a bit weird that, like, a big, loud, noisy train should be easy to hear and see from a pretty good distance. So I feel like he could have
so maybe he
it.
wasn't hiding. He was just resting.
Maybe he was just like, here I am.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day. Yeah, I think this may be a hoax.
Maybe. Don't you have proof it's a hoax?
I don't have definitive proof, but this was uncovered by another YouTuber named Truth is Scarier Than Fiction, who everyone should definitely...
Your new best friend.
Well, I wouldn't say we're best friends, but he's a pretty cool guy. And he put up a video, and what he discovered is that there's a company in the area called Sasquatch Expedition Campers who have a Sasquatch suit that they use for marketing. We might put some pictures up. And on the day the post went viral, they uploaded a post with one of their employees partially dressed in the suit.
What's the point of this business? Sasquatch Expedition Camping?
I think it's just be like a camping store, but their logo is Sasquatch. That's what they use for like marketing.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they're like a company that tries to sell Sasquatch suits or anything.
Okay.
But maybe it wasn't them, but I think it would be reasonably easy for someone to put on a suit and go out there. Even if it is somewhat remote, like, you know that a train's going to go by.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see. Perhaps in 100 years, this will be the strongest evidence. And then we'll discover Bigfoot and we'll realize we were the fools all along.
Yeah. Can I just say, a lot of the media coverage was really bad. Like, even the people who were skeptical were like, oh, it looks like a ghillie suit for like a hunter. But like, there's zoomed in images where you can clearly see like it's either the face of a creature or it's a mask.
Cool. I'll do some news. So once again, I'm bringing back some old news because what is considered news, I've realized, is just a social construct, you know?
Okay.
Time means nothing. So this is news from September 12th. Actually, you know, that's not so long ago. No, usually I have news that's like from last year. But anyway, so this is about marsupials. Marsupials are animals they're mammals that are different from other mammals in that they lay their young into a pouch on their body and then nourish the young before fully birthing it. So some mammals give birth to eggs and then take care of them so they develop inside the eggs. And other mammals, most mammals, give birth to fully formed animals. But, you know, marsupials have this in-between stage. So that's what a marsupial is, okay? In case you didn't know. But marsupials are very interesting evolutionarily because there are only a few places where you can find them. There are marsupials in Australia, maybe New Zealand, I don't remember. But definitely Australia is the big place for marsupials. And then the second place would just be opossums, which are in the Americas. So it's weird, like, why are there only a few marsupials as far as geographic distribution goes? And also, where did they start, right? So anyway, marsupials are an interesting case of biogeography because they're in such, like, different places. They're restricted to such different places. And so some of that can be explained by, like, the extinction of marsupials in favor of placental mammals. But basically, they found a missing link, which shows an animal from between when Australian marsupials split off from American ones and now. So it's a 6-pound koala, Luma koala blackae. It lived in the Northern Territory of Australia 25 million years ago. And that's another interesting thing, which is that the Northern Territory, I guess, doesn't have koalas today. So, yeah, there was a bigger kind there. Or bigger? I don't know. How big is a koala now? Like 3 pounds?
3 pounds? That's barely anything.
I don't know. Koala weight. Let's see. Oh, okay. So it's actually a smaller type of koala that I found. because a typical koala is 8.8 pounds, apparently. So anyway, these are sort of small koalas from the Northern Territory, and it's very interesting. Another interesting thing I learned from this article is that 30 million years ago, there was another species, giant koalas. They were 440 pounds, and they were called Ilariids. Now that's what I want to see, a giant koala. How did it even like get into the trees to eat all the eucalyptus?
I don't know. That sounds like the size of like an actual black bear or something.
Yeah. But remember, koalas aren't bears.
I know, I'm just using it for comparison.
Don't forget. Otherwise, I'll have to explain what marsupials are again. Okay, your turn.
Well, my other story is, well, I'll start reading the headline. 21 species removed from U.S. Endangered Species Act. So when I first read this, I was like, oh, that's nice. After going extinct. So it's less nice. So basically, there have been 21 species removed due to their extinction. And of course, this has raised many concerns among conservationists, saying that it's a wake-up call. Some species, like the Bachman's warbler, the little Mariana fruit bat, have been delisted. Others were spared. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just another alarm bell that a lot of species are going extinct. Same causes as always, loss of habitat and climate change.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting to note, or important to note about this, is that it takes a long time to remove a species from the Endangered Species Act. Like, it requires a lot of meetings and proposals and stuff. So these extinctions probably happened a while ago.
Yeah, a lot of these animals were put on like the list in the 70s, 80s, when there were already very dwindling numbers.
Next, I'll say my next article. This is about a study that was done of African animals, what they're afraid of as far as predators. I mean, humans evolved in Africa, right? And so animals there have had the most opportunity to evolve to be afraid of us. Or maybe not. I mean, yeah. So this is like trying to find out what they're afraid of. So they put a bunch of recordings around different watering holes. They played bird sounds, dogs, gunshots, lions, and humans. Sounds from all of those things in animals. Can you guess what the conclusion was?
Humans were the scariest.
Yes, the animals were most scared of humans with no exceptions. They're more afraid of human voices than that of any other predator. It's interesting, like, most animals ran away immediately from humans, and then if for a lion, they would look a little bit, and then they would go away a little bit less quickly. Lions, obviously, I mean, they're not that afraid of other lions comparatively, but they definitely were afraid of the humans. And elephants confronted the lions. They destroyed the sound-making devices, but they didn't have nearly that much bravado with humans. They just ran.
It sort of makes sense, though. I mean, it seems more intelligent to get away from humans than from lions.
Humans are scary. So the impact of this study, they hope that they can put recordings of human sounds around places where poaching is heavy. And I should add also, the sounds are not threatening. So like the dog sounds, that's an angry dog. The gunshots, that's scary. The lions, they were roaring. But the human sounds they played were just a conversation. Like, it might have even been poetry. It was so neutral and maybe even soothing to another human. But, so you don't need to have an aggressive-sounding human to scare away these animals.
I guess if they've been attacked by poachers, they probably weren't, like, screaming, I want to kill you or anything. They were probably just talking calmly to other people. Oh,
it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day to be a poacher. That's what they were saying.
Let me tell you my favorite poem, Poacher Number 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully it has good applications to protect animals from poachers. Okay. Are you ready to move on to our wild chat today?
Mm-hmm.
So you put down the question, what's your favorite wild cat and why?
Can I try and guess for you?
Okay.
Is it the fishing cat?
I mean, I guess, but it's hard for me to pick a favorite. I do like the fishing cat, though, and I like any cat that isn't really talked about. Like, everyone knows about tigers and lions, right? But the really neglected animals, feline animals in this world are small wild cats. So that would be fishing cats, to some extent servals, caracals, yeah, sand cats, all those little guys. I love them. I also really like the Idiomote cat. It was my big dream to go to Idiomote Island and see one. And I went there and I didn't see one.
I saw one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're lying.
I saw one when you weren't looking. I'm sorry.
You're lying. You would have told me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The thing about the Iriomote cat as well is that it was almost a cryptid. Like, I learned about it in middle school for a school project. And at that time, there was only one picture of it, and it was a preserved specimen in a museum. And they said it was extinct. And then I get to the island, and I'm like, oh, let's go to the museum and see information about it. And it turns out it's not extinct. Like, people still see them. And there were some blurry pictures and stuff. So it's a cryptid for sure.
For the longest time, people thought that the sightings were just like feral cats, like domesticated cats that went feral out in the wild. They didn't think it was a different species until it was captured in the 1960s.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about people were saying it was extinct. Like, obviously I knew about the 1960s then.
Yeah.
I'm saying since then, people thought it was extinct, and then now people are less sure, right?
Well,
or
there
people
was
are
a
more
sighting
sure than ever that it's out there.
with images like just a little bit before we were there.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, it's a resurgence of sightings, and it's not so questionable now whether or not it's still alive. That's really fun. The fishing cat I like because I really like water animals, and I really like cats, and it's like, well, when can those two things ever really coincide? I mean, tigers like to swim and stuff, but... And then a fishing cat, it's always swimming. It's so good at swimming, and it's so cute, and...
Like, some people say that cats don't like water.
They do say that,
I
but
guess
they haven't heard of the fishing cat. Yeah.
If only some musical genius would, I don't know.
Is that what people want?
Treat the world.
Are you trying to get them to want to listen to this song?
I don't know.
Why don't you're just teasing them? Tell them what you're talking about.
Okay, well, Mika released a hit called...
Very much a hit, yeah.
I guess it's just called The Fishing Cat, or does it have a name?
It's called The Fishing Cat.
Yeah, it's a pretty good song. It's actually quite a good, catchy song.
It's a jam. I wrote this song for the same middle school project I was talking about. It was a multimedia project. We had to pick a topic we were passionate about and make different things about it, like multimedia. So one of the things I made was a song. And everyone in my school they liked it, or they pretended they liked it to be nice to me or something. But it was so good.
It actually is a good song.
Defining moment. It's catchy.
If it's okay with you, maybe we could play it at the end of this episode.
The whole thing, or just a clip?
If you send it to me, and I'll just, at the very end, I can play it, and whoever wants to listen to it can just keep listening.
Okay. I'm okay with that. But I don't want it to get picked up and I don't want to not get royalties from it in the future, you know?
Why are you so concerned with money today?
So if you're listening to this and you are planning to steal my song...
Well, we'll have evidence. We'll have, like, undisputable evidence, because we'll have the date that we uploaded it.
Okay, that's true. I'm just letting everyone know that I'm not willing to stand for financial...
Theft.
What's the word? Yeah.
Or not what's it called? Creative theft or something?
Yeah, that one. Okay? Fair warning. So what's your favorite wild cat? Is it a tiger? Because you're basic... The same reason your favorite dinosaur is a T-Rex? Okay. Well, what is it then?
I can't believe you don't know. I've told you this so many times.
Mountain lion? Lions. It's a lion, right?
Yeah.
See, to me, a lion and a tiger are equally basic choices.
They're not basic. They're very interesting creatures. Deserve a lot of love and respect.
I mean, I think our taste in wild cats goes back to our taste in music. Like, you like...
Yeah, if only I liked indie music like you, like the Beatles.
You like the most basic of classic rock, which is good. I mean, you like good music, but I like an eclectic mix of all kinds of music, which is why I like the more
Taylor
rare.
Swift and the Beatles mixed together. And
those are some things I like.
Indie that is.
And I like other artists too that are more rare.
What's the rarest artist you've listened to recently?
The rarest artist I've listened to recently? That's such a weird
What concert did you go to? What indie artist did you go and support?
Well,
Who was it?
I wa-
Or maybe
oh, I
don't
guess I
say.
would.
Maybe don't say. Maybe don't say, actually. I don't want you to be doxxed.
Okay.
But the point is, if you had
Okay.
said it, everyone would have known the name of that artist.
That is not true. Some people do not know who he is.
Okay.
Okay? Anyway, like, you're just gonna pick an animal that is famous, strong, and powerful. And I'm gonna pick an animal that is not famous, it's struggling, and it's really small.
Lions are
and that's
struggling.
just why we're different.
Lions aren't vulnerable or something? Or they're not struggling. That's what you said. They are struggling.
I mean, struggling to be recognized. Struggling as in a struggling artist. Like, no one even knows who they are. If they went to the cat convention, the lions and the tigers would push them out and say, sorry, you're not cool enough to be here. And they go home crying. That's what I need.
Don't you think
But-
it's interesting, their like social structure, though?
Yeah, they're interesting, but it's just so boring to me. Another thing that bores me about lions is their color scheme. Very boring color scheme. I much prefer animals that have a bit of spotting to them, you know, some patterns.
Mickey, you sound like a tiger fanboy.
No! I mean, tigers are very cool, but there are lots of cats that are very cute and different than tigers. Another animal that is sort of a boring color scheme, but that you and I both like, is the mountain lion. Because remember you saw one at the zoo, and you're like, and we were so surprised by its fluffy paws, and we just wanted to hug it. That was transformative for me, because I was never really that interested in mountain lions before. But when I saw that mountain lion little paws, I was smitten.
Yeah.
And it was the one that was
Don't they have
stalking
basically
us.
the same color scheme as regular lions?
Yeah, but I don't like how lions have like their whole macho mane going on. It puts me off.
I think the mane
no-
looks kind of regal.
But well, everyone thinks that. That's a very normal opinion. Anyway, the mountain lion, remember how it was stalking us?
Yes, we couldn't see it for like 30 minutes, and people were coming up looking into the enclosure and being like, oh, I don't know where it is, and leaving. And it was only like
Yeah.
near the very end, we were like, wait, it's 2 feet in front of us in like a bush staring at us.
Yeah. It was so close.
Licking
It
its
could have left
lips.
on us. Yeah. Delicious.
Little
I think the
treat.
moral of this conversation is that I could never pick a favorite wild cat because I love them all and I wish
like
them
them
all
all
the
as well.
best. Really? Name one small wild cat that I haven't already named, and then you can pass.
Good old bobcat.
Bobcats are good. Lynxes are good. The snow
I-
leopard, it isn't. The snow leopard is like if there was a cat that was super beautiful and amazing but never won an Oscar, that would be the snow leopard.
You have such interesting metaphors for all of this.
Because why is the snow leopard? I mean, I feel like it's on the same caliber as a tiger or a lion or a mountain lion, but no one even talks about it. It's just because it's so
How
hard
people
to
talk
find.
about snow leopards.
I guess. Another one is cheetahs. Cheetahs are very good. Cheetahs are the epitome of evolution for speed. They're also very, very skilled at, you know, having the good genes because they're incredibly inbred, but they still manage to do okay.
Hmm. There's the ocelot. I haven't mentioned that.
Ocelots are clouded leopards.
Hmm.
And probably someone listening is even going to think I'm basic because I haven't listed whatever their favorite cat is because I'm not smart enough. Who knows what that is?
Yeah, how dare you not say the rusty spotted cat or something?
There's also the cat that is the predecessor to all domestic cats today, most likely. It's the African wildcat, I believe is what it's called. And if you look it up, it's just like a basic tabby. That's
Sandy
cool.
gray fur.
Yeah. So that's cool because they're a remnant of the first civilizations of humans. Like, early humans saw this cat and they thought, that's going to be my new best friend, whether it likes it or not.
Do you think anyone will ever domesticate a tiger?
No. I think I remember reading something about, like, the science of domestication. Why can some animals be domesticated and others can't? And it depends on their natural proclivity for group behavior. Dogs are really easy to domesticate because they love living in a pack. Herd animals, easy to domesticate because they rely on each other, they're a family. Bigger predators are much harder to domesticate because they prefer to be alone and they have a very strong drive to get other animals out of their territory.
What about lions?
So they're
though?
not... Well, lions don't have that drive because they live in families. So I guess you're asking if they could domesticate a lion? Why don't you try?
I don't think you should try. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I'm not a professional domesticator. I imagine people didn't want to try because when we were experimenting with domesticating animals, we were too busy like trying not to get eaten by lions. And what can we offer them, right?
Constant supply of food.
That's going to be a lot of work for us. I mean, we keep cats around because they do things that are useful for us. Like they hunt mice and they prevent mice diseases from being in our vicinity. So that's why we give them a small amount of food. We don't have to give them like an entire village's worth of food for a week. You know what I'm saying? Like lions need way more food than a domestic cat or what's it called? A dog. Forgot the word for dog. But why don't you just go ahead and try? Let me know.
I think it's a really bad idea. I remember reading a comment under a video that was like how to own a pet tiger, and someone said trying to defend it was like, oh, well, they'll be domesticated eventually.
I don't think that's true. I think some animals are never domesticated. They're just tamed.
And even if it is true, I think the cost is too great.
Yeah. But here's the good news. If we did domesticate lions, think of all the color combos we could get. Because dogs have so many colors now through domestication. Cats too. You could get like a lion with a zebra-striped mane. You could get a tuxedo lion. Like a tuxedo cat. They have the white chest and the black everything else.
Imagine if you got a lion that had fur like a Labrador. Or not Labrador, a poodle. All like curly hair.
A poodle lion. This is the dream. We need people to jump on this as the new startup. Okay, is that enough chatting about favorite wildcats?
Yeah.
I'd like everyone to say in the comments what their favorite wildcat is. And maybe teach me something I don't know. As if that were possible. No, just kidding. Please teach me something I don't know about wildcats. And teach Thomas
I'm going to cut
too.
out the just kidding part.
No! Okay, so should we move on to Cryptid Court today?
Yep.
Cryptid Court music. Okay, so I was actually surprised by the pollers, the poll people, the people who took the poll, because they did not go. Yeah, they did not go for the ones I expected, did they?
No, they chose the most
obscure
one. Yeah.
So on our list were Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of him?
No.
The Kraken.
What's that?
And Veo.
Of course.
So let's talk about Veo.
What is Veo?
Well, first of all, I'm going to be pro today and you're going to be against, right? So the Veo is a cryptid from the island of Rinca in Indonesia. This island is known for being a really good place to see Komodo dragons if you don't want to go to Komodo Island because it's way less inhabited. This island has a cryptid called Veo, which is an enormous pangolin the size of a horse. And a pangolin is that little guy that has all the scales. He's like heavily trafficked for the scales because it can be used in Chinese traditional medicine. And it's really sad. And it's just a little guy. He's so vulnerable, even though he has all the scales. But the Veo is not vulnerable. The Veo is 10 feet long. It has bulletproof scales, and the underside is fur. It only comes out at night to eat termites, ants, and shellfish. It has a call that's like, hoo, hoo, hoo.
Like an owl.
Sure. And when it's threatened, instead of rolling up like a pangolin would, which makes it very vulnerable, it uses its claws to slash. That's in self-defense. It doesn't, attack people, probably. And it can swim between the islands. So, why don't you... I guess I'll say why the evidence that we have that is real. So, in 1956, the French naturalist Pierre Pfeffer went to the island, and a local hunter described it to him. And he was on the lookout for it, but he never saw it. But he got a good description, and that's where we have the information about it today. And that's what I got. How about you?
Well, I guess my first question is, how do you know it's just not a big pangolin that lives there?
Because
Like this,
pangolins have a totally different behavior pattern, and they don't get that big.
what if it's exaggerated the size?
It's totally different. A pangolin is a prey animal, an animal that people are picking up by the thousands and shipping to China. Like, they're so easy to catch. Compared to this creature that slashes you with its claws and like
Well,
really
in
fights
some
back.
accounts, it
Nah.
slashes. What if some of the sightings they just see it?
Well,
Because there's
I feel
two.
like it's too big. It's too big to be the same.
I don't know. I think some of the sightings could be I think it's the Sunda pangolin that lives there. But also, I guess the
The
other one
what
would be,
pangolin?
is it Sunda? Sunda?
Oh, okay.
Sunda pangolin. The Komodo dragons live on the island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in some of the pictures of the creature, it looks almost like a dragon, the way people draw it.
Okay, but people were saying, yeah, it could be a Komodo dragon, but this is a local creature. The locals know about it, and the locals know the difference between a Komodo dragon and what they call the Veo. They were saying, yeah, we know about the Komodo dragon, but it's not that. So they've acknowledged that.
Who said that, though?
People were asked about it. They were like, nah, it's different.
Well, what if it's a different type of Komodo dragon that's slightly different?
What other type of Komodo dragon is there?
No, I'm just saying, like, what if it's like there's a subspecies or something that's a little bit different, and that's why they distinguish between them?
I don't know.
Because a lot of the behavior sounds very similar. Like, it swims, it hangs around the coast, has scales, it's 10 feet long.
Well, here's
even in one of the
something that
pictures, where they say it's as big as a horse, if you look at like the diagrams, that's nowhere near as tall as a horse in the descriptions. Maybe as long as a horse.
here's something that it could be. There's an extinct pangolin species, a giant pangolin species called Manis paleojavanica or paleojavanica. It could be that. So that's a species of pangolin from the past that is now extinct, but it could be that they were seeing the last remnants of that species.
Maybe.
Another thing is someone at the time was saying, they're not really seeing it. They're seeing a dugong. That's crazy. A dugong does not come onto land and like slash people with its claws, okay? So that is a very bad explanation.
Well, maybe it's a collection of things. Like if this thing swims, maybe some of the sightings could be a dugong, some of them could be a Komodo dragon, and some of them could be a pangolin, a regular sized one that looked big.
And what do you think about the fourth theory I have written down here? I thought it was interesting.
Armored horses ridden by the early Portuguese explorers?
Yes. So there was a story about some locals who they were remembering, or maybe they were telling a story from one of their ancestors or something, but they basically encountered the Veo and they saw it and they just crouched down in the grass and hid because they didn't want to be attacked. And there was a theory that maybe what they encountered were Portuguese explorers slash colonizers there. And of course they were going to hide because that's scary and dangerous. And it has been like retold and that people have added that to the Veo tale.
Well, then couldn't it easily been someone retelling a story of a large pangolin or Komodo dragon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that that's really great for my case, but I just thought it was interesting. Should be mentioned. I think it's an interesting to have colonial trauma or trauma as a colonized state that manifests as a cryptid.
Yeah, that's another thing
because that would be horse-sized. People on a horse is horse-sized. Something that slashes at you, that could be people with a sword, right? And armor. What were you going to say?
So. Then why was a local hunter talking about it then?
Well, I'm just saying that could be something like either related or unrelated. Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing, but it's another story and another explanation of maybe some of the sightings and some of the stories. The hunter probably was talking about a real one.
Maybe. Another thing we get comments about this all the time, depending on what side we're on, where we like question if it could have been another animal, and people say the locals surely know the area better than anyone else. And that is true, but the thing is, a lot of these accounts aren't coming directly from the locals. They're coming from European explorers who went there. I don't know if they spoke the language that well, got some kind of an account from the locals, then brought it back and gave their own interpretation and their own translation of some creature that they saw or heard of. So, I don't know.
That's true. Here's another weird thing. I mean, it's not really related to this debate, but I was looking up articles about the
graffiti
Veo.
thing?
Yeah, so I typed Veo cryptid, and then the title of this article is Veo, a modern cryptid. And I was like, okay, yeah, tell me about that. And it was talking about New York. And I was like, a modern cryptid in New York called the Veo? What? So the Veo's there now too? What are they talking about? No. There's some mysterious graffiti that has popped up this year, and people are writing Veo, okay? So what is that? And why would the writer of this article say it's a modern cryptid? Because what kind of cryptid leaves messages? That's just graffiti. But an interesting thing about this article is they were like, I was trying to figure out what Veo meant. I said, I found out it could be Spanish for look. It could refer to hobo code, which would mean that an area is unsafe and has no value and full of like losers, basically. It could be someone's initials. It could be an acronym. It could be an alchemical coding for water equals gold. So how come when they were writing about the cryptid Veo, how come they didn't learn about the cryptid Veo?
I don't know. It's very weird.
I'm thinking these graffiti artists believe that the Veo is out there in Indonesia. That's what I'm going to interpret.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably not even related at all.
It was just so silly that I found this. Yeah. So I don't really have a good argument for the Veo. I just think it's cool. It would be really cool if it was the prehistoric large pangolin.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it is so... I think it's a symbol of hope to have a pangolin species that can't be easily killed. It can stand up for the other pangolins. It's like an eco-warrior.
It's bulletproof, apparently,
Or someone
right?
should make
In the legend.
Yeah, someone should make a movie about the giant pangolin going to battle for the smaller pangolins. But yeah, I don't know. There's not really that much evidence for it, so...
An interesting cryptid, though.
Another thing is, some cryptid or mythological beings, they come from fossils, right? So, like, people were finding fossils of these ancient rhino things, and then they invented the unicorn. They found fossils of dinosaurs, and they invented the dragon. So maybe half of this, or some part of it, is related to finding fossils or remains of some kind of the giant pangolin, and then it, like, bloomed into this whole other thing with the sightings and just a mythological creature.
Mm-hmm.
What would you think about that?
Yeah, maybe.
I could buy that. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm glad that that's the one that was chosen.
Yeah, otherwise we'd have to debate if Bigfoot's real.
That's
what a nightmare.
Too long a debate.
Anyway, we already have the proof.
Yeah.
So
it was seen in Colorado.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on to Q&A. So we have an email today from Anthony.
If you would like to send an email like Anthony, send it to thewildworldpodcast@gmail.com. That's thewildworldpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. So Anthony says, hey guys, I was recently reading up on some papers about the thylacine Tasmanian tiger in Tasmania, about there being sightings and all. What are your opinions on that? Does it sound plausible that a very small pocket of wild thylacine survived out in the wild? Or do you think it is just locals misidentifying another type of animal? Keep up the amazing content. Best regards, Anthony.
Thank you for your email, Anthony. Is this the same Anthony from last time?
Yeah.
Or last times? He's keeping the Q&A alive.
Yeah. Well, first I would say to watch the video, right, that Thomas made about thylacines, because doesn't it answer these questions?
Well, I don't know if it answers them, but it gives my take on it, I guess.
It addresses them. I would say it's plausible.
Yeah, I mean, there are still large parts of Tasmania that aren't inhabited.
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot of people have gone searching for them. We still don't really have anything.
But I could say also some of it might be misidentifying another type of animal, like a scrawny dog, or some Australian creature that I can picture but not name.
A devil, maybe?
Yeah, or like a small wallaby moving in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah, a cat.
Yeah, a cat. So, hard to say.
I hope so, but I think it's unlikely.
I hope so. I don't know how likely it is, but that's the dream, to have them out there. Okay. And then I guess we can move on to comments. I didn't find any that stood out to me. I even watched your newest video and looked in the comments, but all the comments were totally sane. So, yeah.
What about the person who said I clearly hate spiders?
Oh yeah, okay. You know what? There were some comments talking about how they're pushing hatred against spiders. Why would you make a video pushing the hatred against them? Do you have any response to that?
Nonsense.
Yeah. You love spiders.
I do.
Would you rather be in a tank full of spiders or a tank full of sharks?
I don't know. I guess it'd be more ethical to have the spiders because you wouldn't need a huge tank and everything.
It's an open, in the shark case, it's an open water tank where like there are entrances to and from the ocean.
I don't know.
The sharks want to be there. You can pick.
I guess maybe the sharks because that's harder to see them in day-to-day life.
So you don't want to be crawling with spiders? You don't want them like on your head and crawling into your clothes and everything?
You've had a few boasts in this podcast, so I might have a little boast myself. I always thought one of the Guinness World Records, even though that's proven to not be a very reputable company, but one record that I could easily get was like one of those ones where like I'll sit in an empty bath with 50 tarantulas or something for a minute. Mm-hmm. I could easily get that record if they'd let me. Fortunately, you have to pay 10,000. But where are you going to get 50
tarantulas from?
I don't know, pet stores.
Okay. You have to do what?
You have to pay thousands of dollars for the Guinness associate or whatever to come out, the Guinness rep to come out to you.
Why don't you bring the tarantulas to him and then sit in his bathtub?
Sit in his bath, just break into his house? Surprise! Yeah.
So you don't hate spiders, right?
No, I don't.
And you're not talking about how big they are to get people to be afraid of them or hate them?
Mm-mm. I just thought it was interesting.
Okay. What do you think of the people who said, if I saw a spider like that, I would destroy it? We need to have nuclear fires all over the world if the world had spiders that big, stuff like that.
I think that's a bit alarmist.
Yeah, especially they've been here already. Like, they're here whether or not you know about them, so
yeah, if
you don't need to start a fire.
Yeah, you don't have to nuke the planet.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, I guess we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, you're about to listen to an absolute tune.
Oh, yeah.
Called The Fishing Cat, yeah, and I hope you enjoy it.
Please tell me if you like it. I'm probably never going to release any more music, though, so.
Okay, hashtag release an album or something, I don't know.
Start a crowdfunding for me.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
They say that cats don't like water. They must not have known about me. I live, I breathe, I'm in love with the water. It's all that there is to me.
I live in Southeastern Asia, wherever water can be found. Swamps will do, and so will forests too. And I always live alone. Fish are what's on my menu, that's why they call me a fishing cat. I wait on the banks of the river, and when I see a fish, I go splash. Sometimes I just scoop the fish out with one of my cool web paws, but other times I take a long swim and I dive, grab those fish with my jaws.
They say that cats don't like water. They must not have known about me. I live, I breathe, I'm in love with the water. It's all that there is to me.
My lifestyle must be very careful, cause people like to hunt me for my fur. Apparently, I'm worth way more when I'm separated from my fur. If all goes well, I will live for 12 years. Even better would be 15. But if my habitat's destroyed or I'm poisoned, I will be lucky to turn, 3.
They say that cats don't like water. They must not have known about me. I live, I breathe, I'm in love